talk about Lyle Alzado. He's another one of those cases that Al Davis, he likes to go out and he gets these all-pros, these guys he's liked them throughout their careers, and they're just about at the end of their career, and he brings them in and to show the young guys how to play. He has a young defensive line, and he's done it in the past with Cedric Hartman and Bubba Smith and Pat Toomey, and he brought Lyle in thinking Lyle may have another year left in him, and Lyle has turned out to be a little better than he thought.
He's great at reclamation projects, Al Davis. Give him his due in that regard. Matuzak, maybe the best evidence of all. Gift.
Third down, 4, shotgun for Miami. They're down 13-0. Opening moments of the third quarter. Woodley in and out of the hands of an ordinarily fine receiver. Joe Rose had a little speed on it, and Rose couldn't handle it. It'll be fourth down, and Miami will have to punt on their first possession. They bring in Reggie Roby, a spectacular rookie from Iowa, a 6th-round draft pick, and Greg Pruitt, the veteran, drops deep, respecting Roby.
Not a good omen for Miami. What they want to do is get a drive started quickly in the second half.
Well, I think if they're going to do that, they got to start throwing that short pass over the middle and take advantage of Matt Millen and Bob Nelson's inability to cover in there.
He backed Pruitt all the way to the 20-yard line, and the ball hung up there for seemingly 4 or 5 seconds. Flag is down as Pruitt navigates his way back over the 30-yard line. That was a 58-yard punt by Reggie Roby.
He is huge.
He gets it down. He speeds it up a little bit. He had to hurry one a week ago and sliced off the side of his foot. He had 1 yard, but he averaged 43 on the day.
Roby's a great draft choice. Kickers, so important in the draft.
Yeah, it's funny, those kickers, when they miss a field goal or shank one of those punts.
Illegal block during the run back. Number 40 of the receivers. It's 1st and 10.
Rick Burns of the Raiders.
They normally get a little, the other guys start trying to intimidate them a little, and some of those defensive linemen and linebackers who are generally the most vocal will try to get aggressive with them at times, but Mr. Roby weighs 243 pounds. I think he can take care of himself.
I think the Giants' most effective draft choice was number 9, their place kicker, Ali Haji-Sheep.
First down and 10 at the 20-yard line of the Raiders. Marcus Allen, and Allen somehow exploits a little bit of an opening for a big gain, a 7-yard pickup out near the 28-yard line.
You believe the way he got through there, Gift?
He does accelerate. I don't think, O.J., that he has, I don't want to put you on the spot, but he doesn't have that 9.3, 9.4 speed that you guys have had, but he does so much with what he has.
Yeah, and he's not that slow now. He just doesn't have the blazing speed, but his balance is what does it. He has good eyes. He sees the whole field and he reacts well.
Give him 8 yards as they mark it just inside the 29. It's 2nd down and 2 for the Raiders. Kenny King hustling, and I think he'll be short of the first down as they're going to mark progress just over the 30-yard line. Kenny King, of course, acquired 4 years ago from Houston. He had carried the ball 3 times for Houston in '79. They traded for him, as the Raiders generally do. And they brought him in. He gained 760 yards the next year. Had a spectacular debut against San Diego, I recall. 3rd and 1. Marcus Allen, short yardage man, Frank Hawkins is in there. Allen, however, gets the number. He'll get the first down, and somebody gets a flag.
This is a big call on which way this goes.
That came in there like it even could have been a face mask. I didn't quite see all of the activities.
I'd say normally it's a holding, and it's
holding, and they'll back up the Raiders.
Big call. Means Raiders can't control the ball. Can't get a march underway.
And they'll be put into the passing situation now deep in their own territory.
Be interesting to see how they play Christensen now. You know, will they double him up or try to keep
holding
him
during the run. Number 87 of the offense, still 3rd down.
Don Hasselbeck in there on the short yardage play, recently acquired from New England. I would say he's holding.
Well,
arm wrestling.
It's not much you can do when they get the arm in there.
Got a full arm lock on him. 3rd down now at 11 facing Plunkett. Camper got back, no flag. And Plunkett will go down, sacked at the 10-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th down. And should have an opportunity to get good field position.
Opportunity certainly beckons.
Yeah.
Look at this ISO on A.J.
Yeah, but look at number
Baumauer,
75. Yes, Better's in there. He just ran over his man. Actually, he didn't run over the man. Henry Lawrence, Mickey Marvin just pulled him down. You know, he went right over the top of him, put that pressure up the middle that gave Dewey a chance to make the play.
Raiders need a big kick from Guy.
There's Mark Clayton. Guy will be kicking from the end zone. Clayton for the Dolphins is up at his own 42-yard line.
I expect Clayton sooner or later to make a big play. He looks like he's going to be a super player to me.
Guy hits a beauty. Stays up there a long time. Clayton hesitated for a moment, realized he had to go for the fair catch. Beautiful kick by Guy. 51 yards, but a good hang time. Clayton forced to make the fair catch without the return at the 38-yard line. But good field position for Miami. They trail 13-0. To the Miami Dolphins, 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. Both teams undefeated into tonight's play. Whitley looks at the 3-4 of the Raider defense that can turn into most anything. Whitley gets the ball out to Dan Johnson. His 3rd reception in his NFL career. There'll be a gain of about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7.
As A.J. seems he never has a bad game. Just a question of achieving greatness and sustaining it with him. That was a dangerous throw. Do you know that with the coverage that was there, Giff?
It's sort of a slip-off on the part of Dan Johnson. Whitley hung it out there, and that pass could have been picked off.
I would try to look for more things quick over the middle or in those hooking zones to take advantage of Millen and Bob Nelson's lack of quickness.
2nd down 7 for the Dolphins. Play action by Whitley. Fires it complete. Going out to Duriel Harris, and Duriel Harris has the 1st down. He's inside the 43-yard line of the Raiders. Duriel Harris doesn't have that great speed, but one of the most fluid receivers you will ever watch. There's the play action. Whitley trying to hold a linebacker, getting Harris behind him, and fires right in front of the corner man, Ted Watts. But he makes those great moves, and he has tremendous hands. And he has got to take up the slack this season for the Dolphins with the loss of Jimmy Cefalo and Tommy Vigorito. Both have been gone for the season. In the opening game of the season. On 1st down, Franklin, left side. And Franklin pursued and taken by Bob Nelson right at the line of scrimmage. He might have got a yard out of it.
I agree with you that Nelson and Millen don't have the great speed, but they are. This is a very effective linebacking core.
Let me tell you, they're football players. Bob Nelson, he was originally drafted by the Buffalo Bills. They said he had slow feet. He was cut by the Raiders. He was cut by the 49ers. And Al Davis said he was a football player, and he is a football player. He gets a chance to hit you, he'll tear you up. At Buffalo, we weren't playing a 3-4 at the time, and he wasn't that effective with 3 linebackers. But with 4 linebackers, he has less responsibility, and he's physical, and that's what the Raiders want.
Good point.
Woody Bennett now in the backfield, and the motion man is Mark Clayton. Clayton, that's a lateral. And Mark Clayton, the rookie out of Louisville, instantly realized that that could have been Clayton throwing the ball deep, because there was a deep man downfield, Duriel Harris, but you have to catch it before you can throw it. So long yardage again for David Whitley. It'll be 3rd down, and they'll mark it back now near the 44-yard line. Call it 3rd down and 12.
This Miami offense reminds me of their offense during the Super Bowl. They just didn't seem like they could establish anything, or they knew what to do. I don't know if it's Whitley or what, but there's just some spark in this.
Close to the 45, so 3rd down, 13. Shotgun for Whitley. Whitley trying to get out with a timing pass to Mark Clayton. Mike Davis, good coverage, incomplete. 4th down. Miami will have to turn over once again.
Another dangerous throw, Frank, because had Mike Davis picked that off, bang, bang.
It's almost like a fight now. It seems as if Oakland has measured them, you know. 3rd or 4th round, looks like they got him just about measured
It's
now.
an interesting statement. Yes, you're right.
There's Reggie Robbie. His last effort, a 58-yard punt. This time I presume he'll be looking for a corner or to kick it very high and get the coverage down under. He chooses the high route, and he has really put it up in the air. A bobble at the 10, but covered quickly. Greg Pruitt lost the ball at the 9. Recovers out over the 10-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 for the Raiders. They're deep in their own territory. We'll be back at the Coliseum in just a
Go leading San Francisco. L.A. doesn't want the penalty.
From the 11-yard line at first and 10, Marcus Allen is surging ahead. The flag is down, as you can see. As Allen is surging behind that big offensive line, gets out to the 15, but the Raiders once again called for holding.
All right, the American League. Look at the bird.
Dave Dalby at center, holding for the Raiders. They move it back to the 5-yard line. First down and 15.
They're deep into penalties now, the Raiders.
Don Hasselbeck is coming in tight end for the Raiders, and here comes Kenny King. Trying to turn the corner. Doesn't quite make it as one of the Blackwoods, Lyle, comes up, makes the defensive play.
But gives them a little bit of breathing room.
Well, you know, the Raiders are historically a highly penalized team. Generally, their penalties are more of the aggression type, you know, roughing the passer and stuff. Strangely enough, this year, the first 2 games against Cincinnati and Houston, both of those teams were penalized more than the Raiders.
Yeah, they penalized Cincinnati, everyone but Paul Brown in that one. They really had a tough time against the Raiders. The Raiders winning that game over Cincinnati 20-10. Kenny King got 6. It'll be second down and 9. The ball just inside the 12-yard line. Here's Marcus Allen. We're stringing this one out. And Allen will get a couple of yards up close to the 14-yard line. Bob Brzezinski, tough against the run. Defensively, they're first for the Dolphins.
They don't want to risk throwing the football and intercept. Not when you got Ray Guy. He can get off another kick like the last one. I'm assuming they won't throw on this third down.
And they have a 13-0 lead with 8:19 remaining in the third quarter.
They've won too many football games not to go for it. I think they'll throw and go for it.
Barnwell and Branch, the speedsters, bottom of your screen. Branch is in the slot.
Well, when you got Marcus Allen in the backfield.
And now the Raiders must punt.
You like my call, Sweet? Oh, I just started shaking her head.
What a pretty child.
She wanted to go be home playing, I think.
She's wondering what's going on. What are those guys out there in the black doing, beating up those guys out there in the white?
Well, here's Ray Guy once again, this time not in the end zone, but he's right close to it. And Mark Clayton, the 8th-round draft pick out of Louisville, is back at the 40-yard line of Miami. Let's look at it wide because the Dolphins came close to getting the guy the last time. And they came close once again, and Guy drills another beauty. It takes Clayton back to the 28. Here he comes.
Ooh, what a hit.
And he's met at the 35-yard line. First man there, Otis McKinney once again. So Miami, as the game has turned into a defensive battle, will have a first and 10. The ball near their own 35-yard line. 45 effort Guy. Hammered the Raiders out of deep in their own territory once again. The Dolphins, first down 10. The ball inside their 36-yard line. And David Woodley remains the quarterback. Should not Shula necessarily make a change or decide to make a change. We think it would be Marino. Woodley under pressure. Great athletic ability. And he's going to get yardage when he could well have been sacked. 4-yard pickup by Woodley under deep pressure. We're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves. That's the extra dimension you get with the David Woodley, where Don Strock, the quarterback at that point, or Dan Marino, probably, they, in all probability, would have been sacked.
And that's
but Woodley, with a good athletic skill that he has, got out of there and made 4 yards out of it.
And that's where Plunkett isn't given enough credit for. The difference in this game tonight is Plunkett's been able to avoid the rush and get the balls off successfully, where Whitley's been forced to run when he scrambles.
Second down and 6. The ball resting just over the 40-yard line. Woody Bennett piling into the left side, getting a couple of yards. It'll be third down and a long 3 now for the Dolphins.
Can't kick about this game because these are two tough, solid football teams. And while there has not been any spectacular scoring, the big plays have been made by the Raiders. And somehow they put a team together, the Silver and Black does, every year that is always up there. Richly competitive and very tough.
Third down, again, a long 3, close to the 4, in fact. The ball just at the 42-yard line of the Dolphins. Out of the shotgun. Woodley again under pressure, going to Rose. And Joe Rose, the tight end they go to in the must-pass situation, gets the first down inside the 40-yard line of the Raiders. And a very cool effort on the part of David Woodley.
Might be the biggest play for them so far tonight. Keeps the drive going.
See, Rose does a good job on Davis. He just ran a simple flag pattern, and Davis got a little off balance.
Davis got his feet tangled.
Hey, the offensive line is keeping the Raiders out of there. Hendricks, or rather, that was Townsend a little late. He could have drawn a flag, but he didn't. But they are pushing the offensive line right back into Woodley. Good completion. Good combination. Woodley and Rose. First down 10. David Overstreet upended. Pickup of about 1.
Well, on that last replay, you saw something that the Raiders have been doing very successfully this year. There's their leader on defense, their defensive captain, Martin. Even when they don't get the sack, they're hitting the quarterback. And even though the quarterback gets the ball off, if you hit him enough times, you're going to force him to rush the ball a few times.
Which is why the Jews never tried to play quarterback.
It's my arm, Howard.
Big blitz down now for the Raiders, although they have their 4 down linemen in. Now they stay with their 3-4. Second down long, second down and 9. Woodley has the time and drops it off Overstreet with a juggling act, and he couldn't come up with it. It'll be third down and 9. Bob Nelson was there to make sure that Overstreet was not going to handle it.
It's a simple little loop over the middle by the running back coming out of the backfield. This is the kind of stuff I think they're going to have to do if they're going to start moving the ball consistently.
That's the
if he
key
caught
point.
it clean, he would have had a little time as quick as he is to put a move on Bob. But
Nevertheless, they verified your key point that you've been making all game. The way to attack them is with that short stuff in the area of Millen and Nelson because of their absence of foot speed.
Sure ain't going to get much success running in there because those guys could play the run.
Third down and 9. Miami from the tee, not the shotgun. That's Rose in motion. Bootleg by Woodley.
Good call.
And Woodley has the first down, up in and inside the 25-yard line. This time the bootleg working.
Great call.
Everyone going with the flow of the backfield to the left, and Woodley coming out with a blocker in front of him. It was Foster, and he gets the first.
You can see everybody have their keys on guards and fullbacks and halfbacks, and they go with them. And the quarterback comes out with Roy Foster. He makes a good block, and Woodley does a good job of running.
He does. That's what he's best at. Gutsy call, too. Great call.
Basically what he was at LSU when they got him in the 8th round back in 1980. He shared the quarterbacking duties. First down at 10, 25-yard line. Miami still has not been able to get on the scoreboard. They trail 13-0. Late minutes of the third quarter as we watch David Overstreet. Rod Martin defensively again, but Overstreet gets inside the 20 for a pickup of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
That Matt Millen is always in the action. You know, he's really a down lineman. It could be a down lineman. He went in there and took on all the interference and stripped the ball carrier of the interference, and Rod Martin came up and made the play.
I tell you, that Overstreet's an interesting fellow to watch. He gives the look of a player who might at any time explode. Remember earlier in the game, in the first half, he almost broke one. He gained about 11 yards. He had one man to get by. He shows flashes. Let's put it that way.
I think he's in the game because they need one of those flashes.
2nd and 5, and Franklin is nailed. Hit hard. Reggie Kinlaw, nose tackle, playing off Dwight Stevenson. Big play on the part of Reggie Kinlaw.
I don't think Shula feels right now that this team can move the ball consistently and get it in the end zone on the Raiders. The Raiders are just too tough defensively right now. He needs a guy like Overstreet to come in and break one, and I think that's why you're seeing Overstreet play so much.
2 years ago, by the way, Juice, the Raiders had a poor and unrepresentative for them season. One of the reasons, Kinlaw out.
3rd down and 6. There was a loss of 2. Shotgun. And down goes Woodley. Gave up the football. It was Rod Martin on the blitz. The play still moving.
Goodbye.
And Greg Townsend, a rookie from TCU, picks up the fumble. Down the field he goes, but credit that. Certainly an assist to Rod Martin. Fought through a block, got to Woodley, knocked the ball loose. 64-yard touchdown for the Raiders.
This is one tough football team. And we've told you all night about Rob Martin.
Probably their best linebacker. He's been voted the captain by the team. He's been voted MVP of the defense 2 of the last 4 years. He stripped the ball. Mr. Townsend, who deserves this touchdown. Look at him run. This is the defensive lineman you're looking at. Watch Rod Martin behind him. If you can see him, he made one great block for him, even though it was unnecessary. It was behind the runner.
We also told you about Townsend and Pickell. 2 rookies
With
making it big.
A startling development. The Raiders already on top, 13-0. 64-yard fumble return. Great effort by Rod Martin and Greg Townsend. Chris Barr. This time he hammers it through. And the Raiders have a 20-0 lead. 1:12 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the rookie, Greg Townsend from TCU, gets his first professional touchdown. And a great assist to Rod Martin, who's been all over the field tonight. But you're going to be hearing the name Townsend for many years to come, we have a feeling. There's Fulton Walker. Chris Barr puts it up high. Walker will have an opportunity from the 1-yard line. And the best he can do is get it back to the 15. As the Raiders are really steamed up now. Again, college football, 12 o'clock Eastern time.
Not so sure the Spartans' victory over the Irish was an upset.
Well, perhaps you're right. 1st down and 10, 15-yard line. Miami. Overstreet on the screen, and Overstreet carries a Raider, Archie Reese, for yardage up close to the 20-yard line.
I said that, Frank, because you know who's coaching the Spartans, George Perlis, who through the years was so valuable to Chuck Noll. He's going to be a great coach, head coach.
He was the one that went to the USFL for about 5 minutes and then on to Michigan State. He was a great coach. And is, obviously.
Big Lyle Alzado. Feeling like a kid again.
Overstreet got 5. It's 2nd down and 5. The ball at the 20-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. Time running out here in the 3rd quarter. Time running out of the Dolphins as Woodley puts it down, takes off, and I tell you, he went down, I think, maybe short of the 1st down.
He did.
Hendricks was looming awfully large in front of him, but I think he could have squeezed out another foot.
Well, when Hendricks moon out in front of you,
He might have got it, but if he did it by inches.
you go down.
Feel that smoke coming out of those nostrils. That'll put you into hook slide really quickly. That's good judgment on the part of David Woodley.
Don Shula, you know, his teams have always been ball control teams. They like to run a lot of stuff inside with their linemen, traps and stuff, and they're really not suited like a lot of teams, the 49ers San Diego, to overcome a lead like this.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter. The Raiders on top 20-0 over the Miami Dolphins. Teams now will change ends of the field, and we'll return for 4th quarter action after this word from our local stations. In front of them, when you get behind the Raiders, they put you in a passing situation. And such is the case at the moment with the Dolphins down 20-0 as we begin the fourth quarter. They come out of the ground. They blitz everyone except head coach Tom Flores, and they know that Woodley has got to put the ball in the air. And fired, incomplete. Intended there for Durrell Harris.
Right into Lester Hayes' hands, but his vision was intercepted by the would-be receiver, otherwise banked.
Sometimes the Raiders give the appearance of being a little bit disorganized on defense, but they know what they're doing. They really turn Ted Hendricks loose in a lot of situations. It puts a big burden on Matt Millen and Bob Nelson. They have to play totally run, while Rod Martin has to be flexible, take up the slack. And they do shoot Hendricks. That's Hendricks top of your screen. He's coming. Second down and 10. And Hendricks got there late, but he really pounded Woodley. Incomplete. We could have a pass interference call. Flag is down. Matt Moore dueling Ted Watts. And Matt Moore is saying, I didn't do it. And they're pointing the finger at Matt Moore.
Well, the ball was underthrown again. And Nat had to try to do something.
There's another flag down at the line of scrimmage.
I was surprised to see Willie get up that time. He was really tagged by Big Howie Long. I mean, he just lowered the boom on him.
And they've sorted it out. Here's Red Cashin.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 89 on the defense. Pass interference by the offense. Offset to a replay second down.
Well, we don't have an 89, so apparently the official picked up the wrong number. This is Woodley. He really gets hammered. Howie Long catches him right in the back. Here's Matt Moore.
Well, if he called it on 89, he called it on Matt Moore.
Well, they called it on the Raiders 89, and they don't have one. In any event, we have a second down and 10, the ball at the 25-yard line. Early moments of the fourth quarter from Los Angeles. Dolphins will go from the shotgun. Raiders showing blitz. They get out of it. Pressuring Woodley once again, and he throws high and incomplete to Mark Clayton. But each time they penetrate the offensive line of the Dolphins, and Woodley perhaps doing the best he can under a lot of pressure.
All right, we have previously shown you the Raiders' domination during the first half, mitigated in the second quarter. They had totally dominated in the first quarter. Then in the third quarter, by now, Miami led in time of possession, and the Miami figures in total yards were far more favorable. But the big plays were made by the Raiders, and especially the Nelson hit on Woodley, the fumble, and the Townsend run for the touchdown.
Third down and 10, again from the shotgun for Miami. And again, Woodley pressure. Bill Pickell, the rookie from Rutgers. He got a lot of help from his friends.
But he's the other one we told you about, Pickell and Townsend.
Yeah, you really can't get on David Willey's case too heavy. As you can see him, they got tricks going up here. You see Pickell, he's swinging around Big Howie Long. Lyle Alzado came in, took off all the blocking away, and he just came around clean.
No one
Poor
does it
Woodley.
better than the Raiders. I mean, they move those men around, but they know where they're going to be.
And they got so much depth. Their frontline guys, Archie Reese, Pickell, and Townsend are backup linemen. No team had that much depth on the defensive line.
There's a man back in 73 and 74, Greg Pruitt, when he was rushing for 1,000 yards and more for Cleveland, was also returning punts spectacularly well. Great kick by Roby. Pruitt all the way back to his 25. He had lined up near the 40. And Pruitt, nice return, back out over the 30 to the 33. Thomas defensively there for the Dolphins on a 62-yard effort by Roby. The good ship Columbia, the Goodyear Blimp, hovering overhead the campus of USC. The Coliseum, as Howard mentioned, the venue for the track and field events in next summer's Olympics. And a big night for the Raiders. They're looking to go 3-0 with a win over the Dolphins. They lead 20-0 here in the fourth quarter. Marcus Allen on a 1st and 10. outside and gets another first down close to midfield. And meanwhile, on the sidelines, the Dolphins are warming up their rookie first-round draft pick, Dan Marino from Pittsburgh.
He may not be that excited about getting in.
I wouldn't think so.
Say, hey, coach, don't you think you got another game better suited for my talent?
I wouldn't want to face that charging bunch of Raiders.
If he puts him in, I think he'll
There's
also.
Hendricks.
He puts him in. I'm sure Don Shula will have him on the ground.
The
running
machine,
thing.
Frank, the machine-type product that Schuler and Ansbarger produce, you rarely see them dominated the way they've been dominated by the Raiders. Just shut down.
Allen got the first down at the 49. The former high school quarterback will also throw it. And if he could have got away from one Dolphin, he would have got a lot of yardage. But Charles Bowser playing there, and you might notice on all the Dolphins helmets, they are wearing a black number 50. That's in tribute to their teammate Larry Gordon, whom we mentioned early in the telecast, died tragically of a heart attack last spring.
In that sad vein, may I mention that the Raider general partner Ed McGaw passed away Saturday night at Cedars of Lebanon, Mount Sinai Medical Center, out of coronary. He was the original general partner of the Raiders, with them through all of the years, back since 1960.
Second down and 18. Kenny King finds a big hole left side, gets the first down. Miami territory near the 43-yard line.
That was one of the all-time stutter steps. Watch this run. This is one of the all-time stutter steps. He's running a draw, just picks his way, and that's because his linemen are just staying with their guys. Look at Marcus Allen. They're just blocking their guys, holding their blocks, and letting their runner pick his hole.
Third down now and 7. Just inside the 48-yard line. A little confusion there. Todd Christensen wasn't quite sure what Jim Plunkett had in mind, so Plunkett, rather than waste an effort, come up with an error, he calls timeout. Throughout all those years.
That's a good thing he hasn't played the Raiders more often.
Seemingly. Third down and 7. Raiders on the move. Marcus Allen. Great acceleration. Somebody tried to go in there for the football. He tucked it away and gets the first down at the 38-yard line. Mark Brown finally bringing him down for Miami. Watch how he hides this ball now, O.J. Somebody makes a grab for it.
Well, Marcus has been accused of fumbling the ball a little bit. He makes a great run here, so I'm sure in practice the backfield coach has been emphasizing him, put the ball away, put the ball away. But you know, it's funny how you dominate a team. The LA Raiders, that's 5 times. The LA Raiders seem to dominate Miami here, 12-3 overall, and some coaches just have other coaches or players' numbers. Miami dominated my teams in Buffalo. We beat them once in 9 years.
Marcus now needs 3 yards for 100. Plunkett, Christensen, and Christensen up close to another first down, perhaps a yard short as Glenn Blackwood makes the stop for Miami.
You have to be impressed with this Raiders team. Not only are they tough, not only are they driving a very good Miami defensive line into the ground, but they've got play variety. And the performance of Plunkett tonight is one of the better performances, I think you'll agree, Frank, we've seen him have in recent years.
Actually, he had a pretty good year last year. The Raiders 8-1. No one was any better than that. And they just lost in the playoffs to a superb effort on the part of the Jets. Second down and 1. That's Greg Pruitt in there now, giving Marcus Allen a little breather, and Doug Fetters makes the stop.
Well, I tell you, during my career, the one coach that I wish I could have had an opportunity to play for was Don Shula. But the one organization as a player I respected was the Raiders. One, they're probably the highest payroll in the league. They say you get what you pay for. And 2, if you look at their staff, they seem to take care of their players. They have 7 former Oakland Raiders working for them as either coaches or scouts. And that's unusual for an organization to take care of their former players like that.
Third down and 2. Hawkins going over the left side, looking for the first down.
I think his knee touched earlier. Depends on where it's marked, and I think the official has it cased.
Well, if it's knee touch, it doesn't matter. Somebody has to touch him in
Somebody
the
did.
NFL.
Well, and you've got a 20-0 lead. If they don't make it, Tom Flores must be considering definitely the possibility of going for it.
Well, if they make it, Don is going to be doing his do-re-mis wherever he is.
Of course he's going to go for it. We're down to close to 9 minutes left. The clock is killing any faint vestige of Miami hope.
I think they're short, but they're going to bring the sticks out, so it'll give a chance for Tom Flores to communicate with Jim Plunkett. He's already done so. I think they're going to go for it.
But Miami's system just isn't conducive to coming back.
No, I agree.
A lot of scores, you know. They normally rely on their defense to keep the game close, and they feel the offense can score at any time if they're within a touchdown. But the way their offense is set up is not set up to come back from three scores against a team like the Oakland L.A. Raiders. I grew up in San Francisco. You know, I was a 49er fan with the Oakland Raiders. For so many years, I'm having trouble getting that.
Everyone does it, Juice. Inches to go. 9:09 remaining in the game. Clock moving. Dolphins in deep trouble. And the Raiders looking very strong now, both offensively and defensively. They only had the one sag in the second quarter. Now they'll get it easily on the offside. Hawkins had it on the carry, and it looked as though Miami was offside.
Yeah, I don't think that was induced. Right.
So the drive will continue. It began back at the 37-yard line. Greg Pruitt on the return.
Well, there's still a lot of time.
Number 58 on the defense. First down.
You just don't grind Miami into the ground like this. You just don't.
Well, I wouldn't worry
Actually,
about Miami.
Be pretty close in this game. It was the sack on Woodley by Martin. Townsend on the return. That was the one that put it totally out of reach.
Despite LA's dominance here, I still think Miami is one of the top 5 teams in the NFL.
Without question.
At the 24-yard line, Hawkins, left side, gets about 4 down inside the 20 near the 19 before Bocamper made the stop for Miami.
Tell you, I think his back juice is one of the better teams in the league, the Niners.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. You know, they had a tough year last year. Their offense, Joe Montana's clicking. Well, he clicked last year. I think Bill Washington's a little more comfortable now, and with the defensive secondary playing the way they're playing up there, the defensive line is giving them a rush. They look like they could be just as tough as they were 2 years ago.
Cowboys looking awfully good.
Always.
They're 3-0 after they win yesterday over the Giants. That's Marcus Allen.
Most disappointing team in the league, Giff, has to be the Jets.
We knew you'd get to that sooner or later, Howard. I thought you lived in New York.
What is it with you and the Jets?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty hard to lose with their personnel, but they're finding a way.
Yes, I heard a guy intimate that maybe they didn't have the talent yesterday. Well, that's everybody who knows football knows
Exactly.
that they do have talent. You know, I think the problem may be they have some minor injuries on that defensive line, and they're just not playing the type of ball that they played a year ago. But overall, they have the talent there. They're just not playing up to it.
Raiders working on the clock. They have a 3rd down and 5. Marcus Allen. He'll be short of the first down, and again, it'll be about a yard to go for the first down, and it could be in this situation with a 20-0 lead. Chris Barr will come in for the field goal attempt. Nope, we have the 3rd tight end coming in. So the Raiders on 4th down will go once again.
Interesting.
Well, when you're dominating up front the way they're doing, I think what's more important is just to keep the ball and let that clock run, and I think that's what Mr. Flores is thinking.
Well, there must be quite a temptation at this point. Play action, find the man in the end zone.
Or just not snap the ball.
Lead, you can't get hurt.
What if you don't snap the ball? Let him jump. 5 more yards on the field goal, no big deal.
And it's Hawkins over the left side.
And running it is no big deal either tonight for the Raiders.
Big lineman, big offensive lineman just surging out. The Dolphins really are not that big. They play great technical defense under Arnsparger. Their deal is not to give up the big play, stay in the ball game, look for the break, and then win it.
Yeah, well, the Raiders management sort of said that they felt that the type of player they look for, the big guy, you know, they got these 280 and 270-pound tackles, were just the right type of guys to play against the type of individual that Shula likes. If you look at Shula's interior line, they all change positions. You look at their linemen, some of them were linebackers in the past. They're not overly big guys, and it's just a matter of matchups.
Throwing out exactly what you say. You remember what the big ones did on Washington.
12-play drive started at the Raiders' own 37. Marcus Allen now well over 100 yards inside the 10-yard line. Gain of 4. Baumauer sliding out for the nose tackle to make the stop.
Here's where a guy like Marcus Allen is real valuable to a team. When you got a lead, you want to protect the lead, you put it on the ground. He's the kind of back that he's better on the 4th carry than he is on the 1st carry. He likes to carry the ball a lot. He likes a lot of work.
He was that right on this field for SC. I used to watch him. He'd carry the ball 25 times, and each time he appeared to get stronger.
You're exactly right, Juice. I thought John Madden made a very interesting point in the CBS telecast yesterday. He was talking about Mark Van Eegen. He said the great backs get better with increased fatigue.
Kenny King, and this time Kenny King is taken there by Ken Bokamper.
Kenny got a little vocal. I guess they pulled his face mask, and if the official didn't call it, he was telling everybody on the field.
We've got it. Flag is down, and they pick it up.
Well, how do you feel about that as a former player, Frank? John said that Van Eegen would be better on the 10th carry or the 15th carry than he was on the 1st, the 2nd, or the 3rd.
I think all the great ones have been that way. Look at Jim Brown. You'd hammer him all day long. You'd hold him down, as we would, sometimes 40 or 50 yards, and in the 4th quarter, he'd rip off about 80 or 100.
Face mask by the defense. First down.
And if they aren't like that, they really do not qualify to be called a great back.
In the meantime, did you ever fall for Jimmy Brown's ploy of being hurt when he got up so slowly?
I never fell for any boy. When he was on the field, we were in trouble. First down, goal to go. The Raiders on a roll that began at their 37-yard line. They've used up nearly 9 minutes on this drive. Greg Pruitt and former Cleveland Brown into the end zone over the left side.
I think I better leave that for Don.
Good to see this man back, Greg Pruitt. He had those great seasons, 73, 74. 75, over 1,000 yards with the Cleveland Browns. Tore up his knee in 78. Raiders got him a couple of years ago. And they have just sort of nurtured him back to good health. His legs are fine now, and he's running once again. There's a little man who could cover the 100-yard dash. We saw him in the Superstars do it 9.6.
Yeah, he's running well. Last week he ran the ball a few times. He averaged probably close to 7 yards a carry. And
Chris
made one.
Chris Barr made another one. And the Raiders are stretching it out. They have a 27-0 lead. And we understand, Don. I wonder if Dottie will. William Judson, the cornerback for the Dolphins, slow getting up after that conversion. He's off the field now. Chris Barr set to kick off, and Fulton Walker is back. Raiders had one sag tonight, a little while in the 2nd quarter. Otherwise, they have dominated. Fulton Walker drifts to the corner and takes it at the 3.
Whoa.
Big opening for Walker, and Walker gets out close to the 35-yard line, and we are going to see a new quarterback. It is Dan Marino coming in, the rookie first-round draft pick, record-setting quarterback for Pittsburgh, and we'll see him when we come back. Took Pittsburgh to 4 bowls in the 4 years he was playing there. All-time passing leader for Pittsburgh. He's in a tight situation at the moment, down 27 points. The Raiders thinking pass all the way. And Marino, successful in his first attempt, going out to Mark Duper. We're going to see some of the newer players, I think, now for both ball clubs. And that's not necessarily good for Marino's. O.J. was pointing out during the commercial, we're going to see Townsend and Piquel probably a lot for the Raiders on defense, and they are fine rookie linemen that can really pressure a quarterback.
But you just saw Don Shula on the sidelines. It's one of the reasons you've got to respect him. Indomitability is chiseled into his face. He never quits. He's down 27 points. He's running his team. Keep discipline. Keep your poise.
Gain of 9 by Duper, and we'll have a first down. Woody Bennett over the left side, getting up to about to the 49-yard line.
On the other side of the coin, there is Tom Flores. Repeatedly through the years, Frank, Dandy, O.J. wasn't with us then, and I have talked about Tom Flores and how he labors in the shadows of the heralded Al Davis, heralded in the football sense. And I'll say this, Al has never taken credit away from Flores. He is quite a man, rich in character.
Marino back on first down. Rifle arm, and he fires it out. The ball is not handled by Clayton. A little different velocity on that ball as compared to Woodley's.
You know, I had the opportunity to play with Tom Flores a few games my rookie year in Buffalo, and my third year in Buffalo, our head coach at the time quit the day we arrived at camp, and they called Tom Flores in to take over the offense. So I've had the opportunity to deal with him on both sides of the, on the field as well as with him on the sideline, and he's a good man. You know, he knows the game of football, and he treats his players well, and they all respect him and know what he gives to this team and organization.
Marino talking it over and looking over a second down and 10. And another drop pass, this time Overstreet. That's twice Overstreet has taken his eyes off the ball before it got there.
Yeah, and a little of that is intimidation. That's why the Raiders they emphasize intimidation. They do it. When you do catch a pass on them, if you get a pass off on them, this 1983 Raider team, you're going to pay for it. And later on in the game, they look for teams to either miss wide open receivers or wide open receivers to drop passes.
It's part of the game, just that you won't be around here too long if you're intimidated too often.
Well, you never were. If you could survive Bednarik's hit and come back.
Ought to hit him a little harder. You'd never heard of him again. On 3rd and 10, Marino. 3 drop passes in a row, 2 of them by this man, Clayton, and Marino says, hey, guys, I can't catch it for you.
I think he can be intimidated. I was intimidated once, Frank.
Tell me.
Dick Butkus.
Oh, wow.
Wherever I was on the field, I was
we're talking about something different now.
51.
Yep.
I would tell you the time I saw him.
Oh, you're about to miss, Howard. I think I just about had him miss.
I saw him make a sack. The quarterback got rid of the ball. Forget whether it was Fran or not, playing for the Giants. He completed the pass. Butkus got up, pursued the receiver, stripped the ball, and returned it to the same point where he'd made the almost sack.
Hey, when I first walked on the field with him, he told me he's going to kick me where the sun don't shine, and I respected him ever since.
Screen on 4th down. This is Tony Nathan. And Tony Nathan gets the first down. He gets up to the 40-yard line.
By George, he made it.
And we're going to have a personal foul against the Raiders.
I guess they're trying to get him set up for the next time they played him. You know.
There's David Woodley, and you can see this has not been a happy occasion for him.
I think it's unfair to say he had a bad game. Well, he had a bad game, but look what he was up against the whole game. Even when he got passes off, he got tagged this game.
Yeah, but that was Marino. He's got a taste of it.
Roughing the passer, number 93 of the defense, added on to the end of the play. First down.
Greg Townsend fitting right into the Raiders' defensive scheme of things. Returning a fumble, 64 yards for a touchdown. Roughing the passer, getting the passer's attention, if you will.
Couple of sacks.
First down for the Dolphins, who are trying to get the goose egg off the scoreboard at the 25-yard line of the Raiders. Marino has the good pass called, and he gets the ball to Joe Rose, and Joe Rose kills the clock, getting out of bounds inside the 16. 3:57 remaining in the game.
That's the ticket.
It's so easy now. You wonder why they couldn't do it all again. Obviously, the Raiders aren't playing with the intensity that they played with earlier, but we saw 3 drop balls, all medium passes, and we wondered throughout the game why they didn't try to throw more intermediate passes. I guess they tried, but the Raiders' defensive line was putting a lot of heat on them.
Second down, short yardage. Good waist down for Marino if he wants to get into the end zone with it. Overstreet. That's good running. David Overstreet gliding, making the cut, accelerating, and he gets the first down. He's inside the 10, close to the 7.
I'll tell you, I see talent in that young man.
Yeah, he had troubles up in the Canadian Football League, as we watch again, with the fumbles, but he produced a lot of yardage for them. And they released him after a few games last year. Miami drafted him, number 1 in 81, and they're glad to have him back. Timing pattern and almost picked off Jim Davis, who picked one off earlier to set up a Raider touchdown just before the half was there.
As you can see, it's just enough. It's one of those patterns they completed earlier than that more. Going down the sideline, the passes, they just get the ball up. If the cornerback is playing the man and not watching the ball, often the receiver can get up over him and catch the pass.
Davis should have caught it.
Mark Clayton made a good move to save the interception. Second down, goal to go. Ball right at the 7-yard line. Marino throws into a crowd short of the end zone, and Nathan comes out of the pack with it. We'll have a third down goal to go. The ball inside the 2. Raiders next Sunday will be in Denver for their next game. They'll be undefeated. The Dallas Cowboys, the only other undefeated. And this is just the 3rd week in the NFL. For Miami, they'll be home in Miami against Kansas City, who played surprisingly strong football yesterday against the Washington Redskins. And Marino calls timeout. He'll drift over to talk to Don Shimon. Took the Dolphins over at his own 34-yard line. His first 3 passes were right in the hands of receivers. They were dropped. He stayed in there, got a screen pass off on 4th down, got the first down, and has taken the Dolphins to a 3rd down goal to go inside the 2-yard line. And Marino, he's big. He's 6'3", 214-pounder. Overstreet in a whole lot of trouble. To the 6-yard line. The first man there was Kenny Hill. He got a lot of help.
I don't envy David Woodley, Frank, as we look at the great coach about to suffer an embarrassing defeat. I don't envy Woodley because he's got to know that Shula is so high on Marino, and in the long run, Marino and not Woodley is his quarterback of the future. It's a very tough spot to be in.
Yeah, especially at his age, you know, an aging ball player, sometimes he can, you know, handle it, but a young kid.
4th down, and Raiders are looking for the shutout. What's remaining of the crowd is shouting defense. Marino, diving catch, Joe Rose. A flag is down, however.
What a great throw, though.
What a great catch by Joe Rose. That ball went through a couple of pair of hands. I'm sure he didn't see it until it cleared at the last minute. He made a real nice stabbing
It's going
catch.
to go against the Raiders.
It appears so.
Let's hope so.
Pass interference. Number 45 on the defense. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Yeah,
Jim Davis, a great diving catch on a timing pass from Dan Marino, who was also under pressure, showing a lot of cool. That was a great catch.
Really was.
Concentration.
But Marino was being blitzed, and he held together and threw a fine ball. And did you see Shula? It's as if he was back in the game.
Hey, Marino has not thrown a bad ball yet. Von Schaman for the conversion as the Dolphins are off the schneid. (27-7). And Joe Rose, the receiving tight end, if you will, worked last year with Bruce Hardy and Ronnie Lee. Ronnie Lee is now gone. The Dolphins very pleased with their Dan Johnson. He will see most of the duties, but you'll see a lot of Joe Rose over the remainder of this year, surely in passing situations. There he is, 4th-year man out of California. 6'3", 230-pounder. So the Raiders are going to remain undefeated. Now the Raiders are anticipating an onside kick. They have one man deep. Greg Pruitt has dropped back, but they have all their sure-handed types up front. Actually, they have now dropped Cleve Montgomery as speedster. Greg Pruitt getting a little breather. But all the receiver types are up right around midfield, expecting the onside kick from Von Schaumann with 2:29 remaining in the game. And they get it, and I think they might get it back.
Don't you love the way the team that wants, well, they got it.
It bounced right off a Raider. I think it was Garrick Jensen. Now, he's a tight end. He should have handled that easily. It popped right out of his chest, and the Dolphins were there. Marino has the ball back once again.
And the Birds of
41-yard line. The Miami Dolphins out of the shotgun. The game, of course, out of reach. Don Shula taking a long look at his rookie quarterback, Dan Marino. Sends Tony Nathan over the left side. Nathan will get about 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Shula will play this to the end.
It's important for his team to keep playing now because they may find themselves in this situation with a game on the line.
Marino again right on target, and again it's Joe Rose. And we'll get the 2-minute warning. Marino has connected with Joe Rose. A 1st down for Miami inside the 42-yard line. We have 2 minutes remaining in the game, and we'll be back at the Coliseum in a moment. Miami Dolphins looking for more respectability. Trailing 27-7. They got the onside kick, and Dan Marino now is a 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line of the Raiders. He's back once again. Looking deep. And almost picked off by Jim Davis. Mark Duper, a speedster out of Northwest State, Louisiana, in the corner of the end zone.
See the end of the play on the ice. So I'm going to tell you something. This Jim Davis is turning out to be a ball player. He's
had a
made
good
some
evening,
real nice plays tonight. We'll put a little heat on Mr. Watts. As Ted Watts. Watts has been burnt at least once every week, it seems, but he's a good cornerback. He just hasn't been able to judge when the ball arrives. He's one of these guys that covers his man with his back to the
quarterback. It's pretty difficult if you're a cornerback by profession. That makes a problem.
Yeah, but normally these guys can read the receiver and tell when the ball arrives and make the play. He has a little difficulty doing that. But he's a fine corner.
2nd down and 10 from the shotgun again. Dolphins pick up the blitz, and Marino's on target, hitting Tony Nathan. Nathan up there for 1st down yardage. Give us an opportunity to tell you this telecast is presented by authority the Football League is prohibited. The 1st down at the 31-yard line. No huddle for the Dolphins. Marino back. Dumps it over the middle, and it goes to David Overstreet. That's how you fumble it, carrying it out like that.
It's easy to say it now. You know, we realize the game isn't being played as intensely as it was earlier, but you wonder why they weren't throwing that little dump pass a few more times. Obviously, some of their better players aren't in the game now. You don't see Millen or Bob Nelson in the middle. And the
2nd down and 3, and Joe Rose gets the 1st down inside the 15, and the Dolphins continue to move.
Nonetheless, they're not playing against statues, and you have to be impressed with young Marino.
Great practice for young Marino, too. He's playing like this game, the final hurry-up part of the game, with their 2-minute offensive drill, as though he could pull this out. And they know they're not going to. They're inside 1 minute, of course. He's 9 of 14. There 4 of them have been dropped for 77 yards. And he fires another one to Mark Duper, who makes a very tough catch on that angle. That ball was really humming. And Marino calls timeout.
Shula is so great a coach, Frank, that he excels even when losing, and he's proving it tonight. He is developing Marino. He's giving him his shot, and this kid looks terrific.
He's playing a game now with Marino, almost as though, let's look at this as a game we can pull out. And he's coaching it that way. Marino is playing it that way. And
but he questions their defense, and their defense played practically perfect football for most of the 1st half against the Cowboys, and then they came back. The Giants didn't. The Cowboys knew they were in a struggle.
So Dan Marino has come on late, and as we have said many times, while he's working against the irregulars, if you will, of the Raiders' defense, he has performed well. He has thrown the ball in excellent fashion. And he he gets another one off to avoid the sack. David Overstreet was all alone in the end zone, but Marino was really hammered. Howie Long, who remains in there as one of the starters, was right in Marino's face, and he knocked him to the turf here at the Coliseum. I guess he's thinking, well, my youngster's getting the work that he needs. 25 seconds now remaining in the game. We'll see Miami again on November the 28th against Cincinnati, and then on December the 16th against the New York Jets. Second down goal to go. Time's one out, and a flag is down. Duper was working against Davis, and I think Davis has drawn another interference call.
You're right.
And so Dan Marino, all right, gets the Dolphins into the end zone now for a second down.
Interference. Number 45 on the defense. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Take a look at the ISO. He has one check. He checks him there one time, and I don't see the infraction.
I didn't either. Might have called it the other way. Might have been.
Well, it's certainly academic because the Dolphins hang up the points. Ron Shaman for the conversion. We'll see another onside kick with 20 seconds remaining.
You're right.
Ron Shaman drills it through the uprights.
Another onside kick.
Mark Duper. A lot of speed. 5'9", 193-pounder. Made his first couple of receptions of the season here tonight. We'll see the Raiders twice more this year. We'll see them Sunday, October the 23rd at Dallas. The Raiders and Dallas now are the only two undefeated teams remaining in the NFL. And we'll watch the Raiders again on Thursday, December the 1st at San Diego, and that could be quite a decider.
Yes, it could.
Chargers dropping another one yesterday up at Seattle. Great effort on the part of Chuck Knox and Jim Zorn.
How about Mr. Warner?
He's something else. Isn't he? The Raiderettes. You think they're the finest in the league, I think.
I think they're right at the top. It's going to be hard to beat them. Of course, they have a big area to choose from.
All right, Miami will once again go with the onside kick, and the Raiders have all their sure-handed types up near midfield. The ball has to travel 10 yards before Miami can recover, unless it's touched by a Raider. This time, the Raiders collected 44-yard line. Falling on the football, the tight end recently acquired from New England, Don Hasselbeck. Another 5-second pause for our stations to identify themselves. So the Raiders dominating throughout most of the game, having a little bit of a lapse in the second quarter, but they recovered from that. They're going to take their third win of the season. They beat Cincinnati in their opener. They beat Houston last Sunday, and they have taken the Miami Dolphins. Raiders picking up where they left off a year ago when they had an 8-1 season in the strike abbreviated season. And that will be it. Dan Marino showing a lot of promise tonight. And for Tom Flores, victory number 3 of this young season. For Don Shula, back to the drawing board. And of course, Don Shula is thinking only now of Kansas City next Sunday. We'll be right back.